You are on the Story or Truth channel, your channel of beautiful and inspiring stories. I encourage you to sign up to be moved by our stories. Let us go to today's video.
A man named Thomas, who has always lived in luxury and privilege as the son of a millionaire. However, Thomas always felt that something was missing in his life. He had everything money could buy, but he never knew his biological father. His mother never spoke about him, and he grew up with many unanswered questions. Thomas spent years looking for his father, but to no avail. He hired private investigators, investigated databases, but all he found were dead ends. He refused to give up because he knew he needed to know the truth about his origins. One day, while looking at an old photo, Thomas noticed something strange. In the image was a man he had never seen before, the gardener who had taken care of the family property for many years. Thomas knew the gardener was a very private man who never said much, but he decided to try talking to him. When Thomas finally met the gardener, he discovered that the man had an amazing story to tell. The gardener, whose name was William, had worked on the property since Thomas was a small child. He watched Thomas grow up to be a man, and he always had a special fondness for him. William explained that many years before, when Thomas was still a baby, his mother had fallen in love with a man named David. David was a simple man with no money or connections, but he and Thomas' mother loved each other deeply. However, when Thomas's family found out about the relationship, they forbade him to continue seeing Thomas' mother. David and Thomas' mother met in secret for a while, but eventually, David disappeared. Thomas' mother never learned what happened to him, and she was never able to find Thomas's father. William told Thomas that he had one last photo of David taken in the estate's garden. The photo was taken just before David disappeared, and William had treasured it, waiting for the right moment to give it to Thomas. When Thomas saw the photo, he was thrilled. It was the first time he had seen his biological father's face. He could see the resemblance between them right away. He knew he needed to find out what happened to David. Thomas started to investigate with William's help. They discovered that David had moved to another country, and that he had built a new life for himself. They managed to locate him, and Thomas decided to take a trip to meet him. When Thomas finally met David, it was like a weight had been lifted off his shoulders. They talked for hours, and Thomas discovered that David had thought about him every day for all these years. He had regretted leaving Thomas's mother, but he didn't know what else to do at the time. Thomas and David spent several days together, getting to know each other and talking about their lives. Thomas was impressed by his father's simplicity and humility, and he also realized that he had many things in common with him. David showed pictures of his current family, and Thomas was happy to see that he had built a happy and stable life. During his visit, Thomas also met the brothers he never knew he had. They welcomed him warmly and were thrilled to meet the brother they never knew existed. At the end of the visit, Thomas and David exchanged contact information and promised to stay in touch. Thomas returned home feeling that he had finally found an important part of himself, and he had also gained a new family. However, the story was not over yet. When Thomas returned home, he was surprised to find that his mother had passed away. He was very shaken, and realized that there were many things he never knew about her. Thomas found a letter his mother had left for him, explaining why he never spoke about his father. She said that when David disappeared, she was devastated and feared that Thomas would be harmed in some way if the truth came out. She also said that she loved Thomas very much, and hoped he could forgive her for hiding the truth for so long. The letter came as a great shock to Thomas, but he realized that his mother loved him very much and did what he thought was best at the time. He also realized that he would never have known his father's story had it not been for William, the faithful gardener. Thomas decided to honor his mother's memory and keep in touch with his father and siblings. He also decided to give a part of his fortune to William, in thanks for the help he gave him. Over the next few years, Thomas and David stayed in touch regularly, and he also became close with his brothers. He found that he had a lot in common with them despite being raised in such different realities. He also learned a lot about his mother, and came to realize that she was a strong, loving woman who did what she thought was best to protect her son. Thomas realized that even though he grew up with everything money could buy, the most valuable thing he found was his family. He learned that material wealth is fleeting, but the connections we make with others are lasting and priceless. He felt grateful for having found an important part of himself, and for having the opportunity to build a new relationship with his father and brothers. If you stayed this far, I hope you enjoyed the story. Then leave a comment and your like to strengthen our content. Until the next video.